So today I had a very interesting interaction on Facebook, which, by the way, I should stop doing altogether. But either way, we were talking about, or the context is, there was a job ad requesting specifically female music teachers, which of course is quite problematic and sexist and illegal in the UK, by the way. Um, and the job was based in the UAE. Now, for full disclosure, I have lived and worked in the UAE. Okay, so not only I'm biased, but I'm also experienced in what I'm going to talk about. Uh, on that thread attached to the job ad on Facebook, there was already several comments, or there were already several comments on the fact that the ad was sexist. With which, by the way, I agree. And then I brought up the fact that, or at least I challenged some people's perceptions or ideas on cultural differences. A lot of the counter arguments against the fact that it was sexist was that no, that's just the way it's done in that country, and we have to respect the cultural differences that, you know, that cause this sexism. I was very taken aback by this. I couldn't believe, but I can, that people are actually thinking like this, where we've become tolerant towards intolerance. And I want you guys to think about what I just said again. We have become tolerant towards intolerance. So now we call cultural differences to oppressive systems. I'm not saying it's all bad in the UAE. It's not. But one thing is for sure. It's a sexist place. And even worse than that, or as bad, it's a place where modern slavery is alive and well. And we are allowing this and enabling this by calling it cultural differences. And it's just different to what I'm used to, and therefore I'm being, prejudiced against this culture, etc. I mean, look, we're all judgmental. That's how progress happens. We make a judgment call on what must change. We don't care if it comes from street Y or street Z. If it's regressive, if it's oppressive, it's gotta change. What if this were the same logic we had applied to Nazi Germany? So one of the things that I was told today during that thread was, well, if you don't like it, don't go to Dubai. Wait, what? First of all, been there, done that. Second of all, yeah, I'm not gonna go to Dubai, and how selfish would I be if I only defend ideas that affect me? I mean, the same people who are defending cultural differences as being perfectly uh, protectable are now saying that if it doesn't concern you, don't worry about it. Like, this is the most paradoxical thing I've ever heard. And then of course I was insulted, as it goes on Facebook, which is fine. But and then eventually I said, look, what if we had done the same thing with Nazi Germany? If someone says, if you don't like Nazism, just don't move to Germany. Like, okay, fine, no worries then. So it was on the Jews that they just so happened to be where the Germans were. So, it's the law of the land, I guess. What are we saying? This is absolutely absurd. We're now tolerating and enabling oppression because we don't want to be seen as prejudiced towards a different culture. This is absolute insanity. This is tolerance of the intolerance. No. We have to do better than this. We have to have a more humankind level of thinking and stop being so worried about being seen as prejudice or, like, what, xenophobic? If a different culture is harming their own, that's not my problem. I should just not go there, out of sight, out of mind. I can't believe that we are thinking like this in Europe, in the West. This is mind-boggling. Anyway, I had to share my thoughts on this. If anyone still is not quite sure as to what my position is this. If it's oppressive, it's gotta go.